Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Blade Job. I'm your host, James Trainer. I am alone right now, but during the episode I am joined by High Voltage Scott Perkins and Tommy Collins, who of course you can follow on Twitter at High Voltage 1987 and at Blade Job Collins. Don't forget to follow the show at The Blade Job Show. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/The Blade Job, and don't forget to check out the website, thebladejob.com, where you can expect a write-up on Far Beyond Wrestling very shortly, which is why my voice is a little shot right now, because last night we had one hell of a time. Might have been 2 nights ago. I don't 100% remember what's going on at this point, but it was great. Beyond always puts on a fantastic show. Episode 4 is a lot of fun. Episode 4, we talk about championships. How important are they? Beyond has none. WWE has 10. There's a big discrepancy between the two promotions. We discuss how important the championship belt really is. But before we get to that, life got in the way. I haven't had a chance to speak out about this, but unfortunately, about a week and a half ago, we lost a legend. We lost Bobby the Brain Heenan, someone I grew up watching in WCW as a commentator, one of the greatest managers of all time. And later in my life, I've gone back and watched a lot of his wrestling career in AWA. Truly just one of the best, did a lot for the business, and he will be sorely missed. I hope you enjoy episode 4. Before that, we're going to lead you in with a 10-bell salute for the Brain. We'll miss you, man.
How do you guys feel about promotions and championship belts? Do you need them? Do you want them? Do some have too many? Do some have not enough?
I think it's interesting, the fact that we are in New England and we, in fact, have promotions that are your traditional professional wrestling promotions that have, a main title, and they have a mid-card title, and they have tag titles, and they have a women title. But we also have Beyond Wrestling, who doesn't have any titles.
They ain't got a one.
Not one. And they seem to be doing fine.
They do quite all right for themselves. They put on quality shows every time, and people still show up. So is it a necessity?
I wouldn't say it's a necessity for that level, like on the indie scene.
Yeah.
If you're going to have a title, you need to push it right. You need to make it a title, but you kind of have to make that decision one way or the other. I wouldn't say it's necessary, but
right.
If you're going to have them, make them the forefront.
Let's start with your traditional promotion. You, like I said, you've got your traditional promotion with, a main title and your mid-card and your tag titles and your women's title. That's been a sustainable storyline model for 100 years.
Right, and if it's a week in, week out show or once a month or every couple weeks, whatever it may be, it does help progress the storyline. There's, you have a reason to fight each other. Each of these guys and women, they can say, I want that. I want to be the best. I want to be the top guy, the top girl. We want to be the top team. But, what happens when a promotion starts having 2 top titles, 2 mid-cards, a cruiserweight? There's a certain promotion that I'm thinking of.
Wait, who could this be?
Guys, it's WWE.
WWE? You mean the promotion that has, outside of, remove NXT from the equation, WWE has 10 championships.
Yeah.
2 world, 2 tag, 2 women, U.S., Cruiserweight, Intercontinental, and the United Kingdom Championship, which I count because it is the WWE United Kingdom Championship.
Right.
That seems like too many to me.
Yes.
Now, I understand the whole brand split thing that they're doing, but like there's a lot of titles floating around in that company, and it's overkill.
Yes.
Yeah, just because they're doing a brand split doesn't mean they're not oversaturating titles.
It's 10 titles for what, 6 hours of programming.
Yeah.
Raw's 3, SmackDown's 2, and
205 is an hour.
1. So yeah, so that's plenty, and I don't know. I don't really.
There are times with WWE programming that I'm not even sure who's holding a certain championship. It usually happens with the mid-card titles, the US and the Intercontinental. I sometimes, especially because, let's be honest, for the past 3 years, it's someone or The Miz.
For the IC.
Is Intercontinental.
Pretty much.
It's someone for a very short period of time, and The Miz.
And back to
The Miz for 6 months, someone for 2 weeks. The Miz for 6 months, someone for 2 weeks.
Right, and it's, the Miz's, that's a perfect role for him, is in that title picture. I don't see him as him holding the Universal title. I wouldn't see that as, doesn't make sense. I don't see him as that kind of a guy, but the Intercontinental Champion, perfect for him. But
right, but he could still fill that role if there weren't those championships. Well, I mean, I guess WWE needs him at this point.
yeah.
I mean, they've invested so heavily in with their weekly programming, like you were saying before, so
as a way to progress.
Yeah.
So well, you brought up like using the titles, as a goal for the performers in an independent organization. You want to be Chaotic Wrestling, heavyweight champion. You want to be Chaotic Wrestling New England champion. You want to be Chaotic Wrestling tag team champions. Just using Chaotic as an example, but for the most part, these independent organizations are not running weekly televised programming. You might see what's going on Chaotic on a month-to-month basis. You might see what's going on Chaotic every 3 months, depending on where they're running shows at the time. So sometimes it's really hard with independent organizations to get invested in the storylines because they don't have this, option to say, hey, well, previously this happened. The wrestlers have to do this on the fly. The wrestlers have to show you what happened last time by how they react. I'll use the example of at Beyond Wrestling Insatiable, after the show had ended, JT Dunn came out and he had lost a tournament because of Donovan Dijak. And he came out, saying, I want Dijak. I had no idea. I know it was the tournament for tomorrow. I know it happened. I wasn't there. I hadn't seen it, and unfortunately, I hadn't had the chance to watch it online yet. So I had no idea that this happened, and I had to learn the storyline as it went. And Dunn did a great job explaining it through his actions. But most people don't. Other than like WCPW, there's not a lot of weekly shows that you're watching for these promotions to see what's going on. So, that leads to a question you brought up. In a lot of these independent organizations, is it a prop?
See, I think, especially with independents, no. It's definitely not, because if you go to a show that's a promotion that you don't go to all the time, you just happen to, it's Friday night, you want to go to a Chaotic show, you'll know that this guy right here is, the top guy in the company because he has that piece of hardware around his waist. It gives casual fans and people who just may be going for shits and giggles, who aren't really invested in wrestling, to say, this is who this company feels is the best.
That sounds like a prop.
Okay.
Well, it also helps, too, because, I mean, you have guys like War Machine that...
Who?
War Machine?
Oh, yeah, they're pretty good.
They're pretty awesome.
I've heard they're really good.
They're really good. And then, let's say, so we saw them a little while ago when we did the Brian Malonis interview, listen to it, at Chaotic, with both the IWGP and the WCPW championships.
Tag team
championships. The belts right there. So, I mean, it could be, you may have people going to different shows that don't know these other promotions, and it kind of sheds light on these other promotions. They might see, oh, they're the WCPW tag team champions, and start looking into that.
What the fuck is WCPW?
Right. And
let's check this out.
Looking into it all and opening more doors or something similar, maybe, for a lot of these fans that just may not know about it.
So I've pretty much decided at this point that I'm just gonna play devil's advocate through this entire episode. So, you know, you like you said, you know, you go to like a Chaotic show and you see a guy like Chase Del Monte, who was the Chaotic heavyweight champion for a long time, and I love Chase Del Monte. I mean, I feel like I've been watching him wrestle for years, which I have. I don't know why that's a feeling, and it's great. And that shows that he's kind of like the top guy in that promotion. But how many promotions have their world title held by some, I hate to use the terminology, some washed up WWE superstar who only shows up every now and then, and when he happens to get booked for that promotion, that's the only time their title is defended. Big Time Wrestling, for example, for a long time, Shane Douglas was their champion, and he is, albeit the franchise.
He is the franchise.
But I went to a BTW show where he was advertised as their champion, and then there was a BTW championship match with Flex Armstrong as their champion, and I was very confused because I thought Shane Douglas was champion.
He was busy.
Apparently. Now, some promotions do it right. We went to an XWA show where Rhino was their reigning champion, and Rhino was unable to compete for whatever reason. I think it was right when he was re-signing with WWE.
Yeah.
And so, since they couldn't get him there, and they had advertised him as being there, they vacated the championship and had a championship match, which I thought worked out great. But once again, do I want to? I don't think that title does anything for Rhino. Rhino's already had a storied career.
Yeah, there's tons of cases like that where a known guy has a small promotion's belt and he's going to travel around and maybe show up at that promotion twice a year, 3 times a year, and is their champion. That's kind of unnecessary. But if it's one of their homegrown guys, or if it's a guy who, you know, is going to be there 3 out of the 4 of their shows, I have no problem with that. You know,
Cody Rhodes for NEW.
NEW, yeah.
Yeah, he's NEW champion. He's been running the New England circuit constantly over the past couple of months.
Pretty sure I was at the show that he won that. I had left, but it was pretty cool.
Great story.
It was an awesome story. I got to see Jushin Thunder Liger wrestle. That was pretty cool. You guys should have been there.
I agree.
I didn't know
You should have told me about it.
I did.
Oh.
You didn't want to go?
Did I?
I don't know.
That sounds like a personal problem.
But
we'll discuss.
We will.
Next time on the Blade Job.
We
talk about our horrible,
petty shit.
deep, dark secrets and how much we really hate each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we're not supposed to talk about that now?
Fuck off.
Fuck you guys.
All right.
I got new shoes.
No, I mean, they definitely have their place. I don't think they're a worthless prop in the independent scene.
And like I said, I really am trying to play devil's advocate. I like championship belts. I really enjoy the look of a championship belt, just the appearance of it. You see a guy come out wearing the gold, and you're like, yeah, man, this guy's badass. This guy's the champ. Mm-hmm. This guy is, he's wearing the strap. He won the strap. It was probably a hard-fought battle. It was probably a great match. Regardless if you saw it or not, you now look forward to that person's match. We talked about Beyond. Beyond has no championships, but they do defend other promotions' championships on their cards. One of the first Beyond shows I went to, Matt Riddle was WXW Shotgun Champion at the time.
Yes.
I think.
Yep.
And, you know, I'd heard of Matt Riddle a lot, and I'd actually seen him wrestle prior to that, but I think it was a Bro Steel match, or he came out with Chuck O'Neil. I forget what it was. So I knew who he was, but also all of a sudden when I saw him with that belt, I was like, shit, this guy's a champion. And it changed my perspective of him.
Right.
You know, it's a championship belt is definitely a good thing, because it gives someone who gets in this business not to win titles, regardless of the predetermined nature of the business. You know, it's still like winning the World Series. Even though someone tells you, okay, well, we're going to put the belt on you tonight.
Well, that's because you've done enough to earn
exactly.
that. Right,
you've earned this opportunity.
Right.
I don't care if he knew it was happening, you know, or not, because obviously he did know, albeit that day. But when, you know, Triple H or Vince McMahon or whoever sat down with Seth Rollins and told him he was cashing in at WrestleMania 31 and he was winning the title.
Yeah.
Even though he didn't technically go out there and win that match, it wasn't a fight, it was a professional wrestling contest, it was predetermined. That elation when he was handed that belt was real. That was, you know, a young kid from, where's he from? Iowa going, holy shit, I did it.
Yeah.
I did it. Those tears when you see these guys win these titles and they drop to their knees in the ring, clutching these titles to their chest. Shawn Michaels, when he won his first WWF championship.
Foley.
Those are real tears of joy. You did it. You won the biggest title in the industry. And I can only imagine that whether it's WWE, Global Force Wrestling,
Jeff Jarrett,
Slapnuts,
or Chaotic Wrestling, it's the same feeling that first time you are handed that championship belt.
Yeah, it's that company saying, we love you. We appreciate the work you've done. We
trust you.
We trust you, yes.
We trust you to represent our brand.
And not get pulled over with a ton of weed. Sorry, Rob Van Dam.
Well, obviously Rob Van Dam had a ton of weed on him. Jack Swagger.
Jack Swagger
was disappointing.
Nah.
I trusted him. I looked up to him. Nope. He was a true American hero.
Yeah, he wanted
from
to build
Oklahoma.
A wall.
So was Rob Van Dam.
Rob Van Dam.
I'm doing the shoulder.
You are
point.
Mr. 420. You know,
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
So when we talked about, you know, like promotions that have too many championships, promotions that have none, what do you think? Is the mid-card championship 100% necessary? And companies that have multiple mid-card championships, is that necessary at all?
I think so. Well, I think it's good for like the bigger ones like WWE.
Well, let's go back to WWE a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when they were still one brand. There was WWE as a brand. And they had the Intercontinental and the United States Championship at the same time. They had one world title, one tag title, two mid-card titles, and a women's title.
Right.
So I was a big WCW fan. During the Monday Night Wars, I was already in WCW's corner before Nitro debuted. I was WCW all the way. WWF was fun, but it wasn't my thing. During the Attitude Era, obviously, I was popping back and forth. I firmly believe that WWE needs to let WCW die and get rid of the United States Championship.
Yes, I like the Intercontinental much more. I've always been a WWEF guy. Like that, I never really cared for WCW, and
You're a bad person. That's why.
yeah. But it like I don't know the Intercontinental that always like. I for whatever reason I just like that championship. That's my favorite championship in all of WWE. And when WWE came out with the heavyweight championship, and it was the big gold, the same, basically the same as WCW, I never understood that. Like why?
I think the whole point of the big gold belt, the World Heavyweight Championship, was
because Triple H needed something.
Well, yeah, but like, I feel like since it was always, for the most part, garnered as your secondary championship, I always felt that it was a jab at WCW. It was I own you, I do whatever I want, and I'm using your belt as a prop to show you that I own you. And I think that's the reason that with the most recent brand split, they didn't bring back the World Heavyweight Championship. They didn't bring back that style of belt. They just made a different color of the belt they already had, which is fine. I don't mind the Universal title. I think it looks fine. I love how everything's color-coded now.
It's the second best.
It's so easy
belt
to keep track of.
Yeah. But when you get to a place like, Chaotic, the New England Championship. Okay, you want to have something for the guys who aren't quite ready to be your main event guys. But is it really super necessary in a smaller promotion like that to have this you're almost there championship?
I would say not in the smaller promotions, but
I mean, Chaotic's not a small promotion.
Well, no,
but
that probably wasn't worded correctly.
No,
but
I never do.
Yeah, but I would say yes for like WWE, even probably New Japan and Ring of Honor.
New Japan
to have that
also has a ton of belts.
Right.
Let's go through the list.
Well, Tom, if you want to finish here.
Tommy Collins.
So I think that for those promotions and ones at that level, it's necessary because it helps kind of do it more or less a trial run for who's going to be your next stars.
How many does Jeff Jarrett have? Does anyone watch Global Force?
Here and there.
I watched the Sting Jeff Hardy match once.
That was a while ago.
That was a while ago.
That was like 2011.
Yeah, that
okay, and I watched it like a couple months ago.
Oh, then okay.
Oh, I watched it like a couple weeks ago. It's so funny.
Well, yeah,
it's sad.
But
it's awkward and shit.
That is the only Impact Global Force Jeff Jarrett that I've ever watched.
So when I was watching TNA, I mean, I started when it was a weekly or a bi-weekly pay-per-view where it was like $10 a month or $10 a week, and you got pay-per-view quality every week for the most part. I really enjoyed the origins of TNA in like 2002. And I remember at the time they had the NWA Heavyweight Championship. I don't honestly remember what titles they had, but I remember, when TNA kind of became its own thing. Your TNA World Heavyweight Championship, you had your X Division, which was kind of their cruiserweight championship.
Yeah, it's not for cruiserweights.
Did start to bring that back too.
Are they bringing that back?
I don't know about the belt, but
the X Division,
as far as
division
the X. When I watched it not too long ago, they're starting up an X Division
X
tournament.
Gonna give it to you?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And they had their tag title and they had their Knockouts championship. Yeah. I don't remember if they had another mid-card title. I feel like it was kind of like... let's use WCW as an example, actually, because WCW had two mid-card because they had Cruiserweight and they had Television Championship.
They had the U.S. too, didn't they?
And they had the U.S., so 3 mid-card titles.
That's a bit much.
I see the Television Championship, when used properly, is a fantastic idea for a championship. You don't defend your world title on television. You wait till your special events, till your pay-per-views to defend your world championship. But you defend your TV title every week.
I'm totally fine with that.
I think WWE needs a TV championship and get rid of the U.S. title. I would even say, I would argue that the Intercontinental Championship could become a television championship.
You shut your horse mouth.
I really love the Intercontinental Championship when they called it what it was, the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion of the world. It showed that it was like, this is almost as important as our world title.
Yeah, it's always been like the best title. I will argue that.
It used to
It
be.
used to be, yes. Now it's not
Like
so
the
much.
Miz,
But
I'm bringing prestige back to this championship. It's bullshit. I'm sick and tired of the Miz. I've been sick and tired of the Miz since the fucking real world.
his the whiny heel gimmick, it's old.
It is. It's not just the whiny heel gimmick. It's the A-list celebrity whiny heel gimmick.
Yeah.
He has not changed his persona in years. He's done variations of it.
But it's been the same one.
But it's not. It was funny at first where it was like, I'm a movie star. I'm in WWE studio films, which was probably a great paycheck for him because I'm sure they get paid more to do the movies. I'd assume.
I would assume
Hope
so.
that they get paid to do that.
And that was cute because it's kind of like, oh, they're poking fun at, he's not a real celebrity. He's a pro wrestler who's in movies made by his pro wrestling company. It's not cute anymore. It's dumb. I don't care. I will look at Maurice all day long. She's a gorgeous woman.
She's pregnant.
Is she?
Yes.
Yeah,
Don't care because I hate The Miz. That's how little I care.
That's how little.
Wow, congratulations, Mazel Tov. Fuck off.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but I digress. Like, the mid-card championship is fine in design. Tommy Collins, you have
Global
something
Force
to
has
say.
5 titles.
5 titles. What are their titles?
They have the Global Championship,
Weird.
Impact Grand Championship,
What the fuck?
X Division Championship,
Okay.
Tag Team,
Uh-huh.
Knockouts.
Yeah.
I like how they still call them knockouts instead.
I
of
don't.
women wrestlers.
Do they have a butterfly belt as well?
I'm sure it's something
Probably not good.
stupid. Yeah.
I don't know. Their titles always
it's-
looked good, except for Jeff Jarrett. Nope. Jeff Hardy's,
Slapnuts.
his mask title, whatever that was,
Oh,
the
yeah,
Willow title.
The Willow title?
Yeah, that was awkward as shit. I
was
did not
just
like
bad.
it. So, we
Anywho.
have gotten off track. I would like to continue this conversation, maybe wrap it up. I don't know.
We'll see what happens.
But, Beyond has done something fantastic without having any championship belt. I think I may have mentioned it before. I may have not. Maybe I've mentioned it on Twitter. I don't fucking know. But, Beyond has said in the interview when right after Dijak got signed, they said that they were never looking to be the next big promotion. They were looking to be a launching point for these guys' careers. These guys, these girls, these men, these women, they want to launch them into superstardom. And you look at the talent that has come out of Beyond.
They've done pretty good at
Have
doing
you
that.
seen Dijak's farewell speech at
Yes.
he says it, he flat out says he goes, Beyond
Is the
made
reason.
me a star.
EYFBO said that when they fought the Lucha Bros at American Rana. They said, we're on TV now, and it's because of Beyond Wrestling.
It's such a great promotion because it's a stage for up and coming stars. I mean, we don't, there's no point of us going through the list again.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of people, a lot of stars have come out of Beyond Wrestling.
We'll do it again at some point.
Absolutely. You can say the same about Chaotic, but Chaotic is a slow burn. Their stars work for a long, long, long time and
Yes.
then eventually get signed because they have that former connection with Walter Kowalski.
Yep.
They have the former connection with the New England Pro Wrestling Academy. For a while it was the Chaotic Training Center.
Yes.
Still run by Brian Fury, who was pretty much Kowalski's protege.
Yep. And it doesn't hurt that, that's where Triple H kind of came from. So they have a bit of a connection.
And Kofi Kingston.
And Kofi and
true.
Sasha Banks.
Sasha
Well,
Banks.
I say Triple H because
What has he done lately?
Yeah, he.
What have you done
shit.
for me lately, Trips? Other than NXT, which is pretty much the best product they have.
The whole wrestling aspect. No, he hasn't done a whole ton, but
He-
the
you know,
behind the
all
scenes.
he
he
put his-
does a-
Tournaments, NXT.
He put his wife through a table at WrestleMania.
wife through a table.
Thanks
that
for
was
that,
pretty
bud.
great. That was Can I call you Paul? Like, awesome. Thanks.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
No, but yeah, he has done quite good for himself, and it doesn't. If you look, a lot of guys who are coming up just happen to come from there, like Kofi, like Sasha Banks, Dijak. Now that's where he went, for training, and it is cool.
He told us about that in the interview that we did with him.
That's true.
Watch that
as well.
It's on YouTube.
It is on the YouTubes.
Yes.
So Beyond has made a great name for themselves because they've been around for 8 years. I think they launched in 2009. Yeah, not 12. I said before the show, it's 8 years.
No one had to know that. I mean,
yeah. Well, now they do. It's out there.
Now it's out there.
I am as transparent as possible.
Nobody has to know I don't have a beard, but I don't have a beard.
Well, you've got a little scruff going on right now.
Yeah, and
it doesn't look great.
No, it's super like white trash. No, it's only a few days, but it's still growing in super white trash. I'm gonna shave when I get home.
Yeah, like Cody Rhodes' mustache. That was so awkward. But Beyond has made a completely sustainable product without having any of their own championships, but defending other promotions titles on their shows. We saw them defend the Shine Nova. Was it the Nova Championship?
Yeah, the Shine Nova Championship.
Yeah, at the
Priscilla Kelly.
Yeah, Priscilla Kelly and Jordan Grace.
Yep.
At Women's Wrestling Revolution, which is the no pun intended sister promotion to Beyond.
Yep. Also,
no championships. Like with a promotion like Chaotic or Limitless. Them having. Does Limitless have championships? That's a great question. We'll get back to you on that one.
I think someone should research that and then leave a comment or let us know.
That's not going to happen.
Not with that attitude.
I know. But like Chaotic has championships. XWA has championships. Yeah. At the time of this recording, JT Dunn and Ace Romero have just won their tag team titles, which makes me very happy because JT Dunn's got this big shit-eating grin on his face, and I love the photo. I'm gonna say I love JT Dunn on every episode. I think I love JT Dunn. That guy's the man.
He's pretty good.
He's such a. I hate to make the comparison, but I feel like he's that next CM Punk, that next Daniel Bryan, that next guy who's just gonna, he's just gonna go places.
Yeah.
It's dumb that he's not main eventing WrestleMania. That is such a cheap pop. Please love us, JT Dunn. But like they use these championships and they are promotions that promote younger guys, and they promote the local guys. They're not promotions that bring in Shane Douglas or Rikishi or Kevin Nash or X-Pac or some nonsense to hold titles for 2 years and only defend them 3 times. Right. And then eventually just drop the title because they're not available and they're not around.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother...
And then it just makes it look like nothing and a cheap prop.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's when you see a prop. It's just like, look, they're champion because they were in the WWF. No, they're like, it's just stupid.
This other kid that...
this kid like...
working every show for you.
JT Dunn or Ace Romero or Donovan Dijak, they, obviously Dijak has done quite well for himself, but they should be your champions. Guys like Cam Zagami... who do we got? Brick Mastone, who's LPW Hard Knocks champion. I love Brick Mastone.
Beluga.
Anthony Green.
All good, baby.
All good, man.
All good.
Alpha Sigma Sigma. This is one of the best tag teams in history.
Yes.
Fucking Alpha Sigma Sigma versus Pog was one of my favorite matches for Beyond. But once again, I digress. Championships. Final thoughts. Is Springer gonna sue us for that? Can he? Is he alive? Springer?
Oh, Jerry Springer.
No, Steve Springer.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, no, he might be. Final thoughts.
I don't know on either.
Final thoughts. Championships. How important?
Necessary? No. Important? Maybe. I enjoy them. I love a good championship match where 2 guys are fighting. There's a reason they're fighting. There's a physical, like, tangible thing you can hold.
There's a prize.
There's a prize. Yes. There's a reason they're fighting, and they can be great. Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, the first Universal Championship match. That match was awesome. Omega Okada, those matches, fantastic. But, Matt Riddle versus Joey Janela, just as fucking good.
Doesn't need a title.
It's just two dudes beating the living shit out of each other. Fun match to watch.
Bragging rights at that.
Yes.
You still can have that story. They don't need to be fighting for the belt. They're just
fighting to fucking fight.
Fighting to fight. I like that.
Yeah.
They're not necessary, but when used correctly, they can be a great tool to help further either a story or someone's career.
I agree. I'm also going to call you THC from now on.
Okay.
I just think that's a good... Your middle name's H now. I like title belts. I think they're a prop. We've had private discussions about my feelings on promotions that just throw their belts on whatever washed up superstar walks through the door just to sell tickets. We have already discussed having an entire conversation about that, and we will in the future. WWE's overdoing it right now. There are times, like I said, I don't even know who's champion.
They've gone too far.
They've gone too far. Beyond, as I've stated in the past, is one of my favorite promotions, and no belts, and I don't miss them when I go to a Beyond show. I think the primary, the whole purpose of a championship belt is and should be to propel people to the next level of their career, which is great for companies like Chaotic, companies like XWA, both who have either close working relationships or their own wrestling school.
Yep.
This gives you a chance to showcase your own talent, almost like guys who come from NXT to WWE. You mold them in the way you want them to be, in the ways of professional wrestling, and when they're ready, you give them the pat on the head. You say, see this belt right here? It's yours now.
Yep.
You earned it. Now prove to us that we didn't make the wrong decision.
Right, exactly.
Prove to us that, whether you're wrestling for that belt in Warwick, Rhode Island in front of 15 people, you're going to have the same quality match as if you were wrestling for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania in front of 100,000 people.
Right.
And they're great when they're used properly. Mm-hmm. But I agree with Scott. Not necessary at this point. At this point in time in professional wrestling, not necessary anymore. You can run a viable promotion without having any titles.
Yes, yeah, but I don't want to sound like I don't like them. It's like, you can have mashed potatoes but mashed potatoes with gravy, I think, is better.